Mitzi Avila and welcome to this new episode of Creative Blueprints. Today I will share with you all this fantastic conversation that I had with Deya Granados-Cruz, the creative director and principal designer of Aidan Designs. Deya is a talented bilingual interior designer who started her own business in the interior design 15 years ago after purchasing her first home. Deya is passionate about collaborating with other designers, homeowners, contractors, and builders to create inviting, beautiful spaces to enhance their daily life. It was a pleasure learning more about Deya and her remarkable ability to transform spaces into sophisticated environments that, of course, reflect her clients' personalities. She thoughtfully incorporates some elements that truly make the difference in how her clients experience their homes every day. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you find it inspiring, especially for those in the construction industry or emerging talents in the interior design, please feel free to share it with others. Together, we can draw and celebrate inspiration from these remarkable individuals. Of course, and if you like this video, do not forget to click in the like button, and also do not forget to subscribe so that it helps me a lot and I can continue sharing these amazing stories behind the design firms with you. For more inspiration, do not forget to go to Instagram after you watch this video, and you can find me as Creative Blueprints or my personal professional Instagram as Mitzi Avila Design. We are ready to start with this conversation. Let's get inspired, and I hope you enjoy this video. Hello everyone, welcome to Creative Blueprints. Today I'm here with Deya from Aidan Designs. Welcome to Creative Blueprints.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you for being part of this. I have to be honest, we scheduled a coffee last week, but you know what is this, like design world, and we are super busy all time. So we couldn't go to take a lunch or a coffee together before this interview. But you're here with me to learn more about your work, learn more about you, and discover the world that is behind designs like this. So we are now in a bedroom that she designed, and she just finished the photo shooting. And just if you can tell me more about yourself, about your company, your firm, and also this amazing project that looks beautiful. So I will take additional shoots to show you how everything looks, and it's so beautiful.
Thank you. Well, I'm Deya. My company is Aidan Designs. I've been in business for the last 3 years. I decided to kind of bite the bullet and open up my firm in 2021 during COVID. I actually had an opportunity where a neighbor reached out to me and she needed help. She had learned that I had been a designer in the past, and she reached out to me to see if I would be willing to help her in her son's bedroom. And I had taken kind of like a hiatus from working in the design field because I had my second child. So I took an 11-year break, and I will definitely say that it's been a challenge, but learning. I've learned a lot from it because it has changed in the last 10 years.
Wow, for sure.
But I mean, AutoCAD's the same, but there's just new software that you use, and just the way that you present yourself to your clients has definitely changed.
Yeah.
It's no longer Word
or
PowerPoint. So there were, a couple of things that I had to learn, but I took the project on and decided that it was like it's now or never, and the rest is history. And so I've been doing this for the last 3 years.
That's amazing.
Yes.
And before that, if you can share with me, what did you study? Did you study here in the States? What did you study? Have you lived here in Austin forever, or what was your previous hometown?
I lived in New York for 3 years. When I first graduated school, my husband, the company moved him there, so we lived up there for 3 years. And then decided to come back, and my background actually was not in design. I studied at UT and I did government, and I was in that industry for a while. And then I got project management skills in the job that I had, and they laid me off, and at that point I really wasn't happy with my career, and I decided to go back to school, and so I ended up going back to school. They took my 2 years worth of credits, so I only had to do all of my credits for design. So it took me 2 years to finish the degree, and so I do have a degree in interior design. But honestly, I don't think you need it. I feel like you learn so much more out in the real world than they actually teach you in school. Obviously, there's basics, things that you need to learn, like, you know, AutoCAD, or you outsource that piece of it if you don't know how to use it. And it seems like that's where we're going anyways. I mean, I have knowledge in it, but I will definitely say that I've learned so much more doing my business than what I was taught in school.
Yeah. And before your own firm, you was working for somebody else, or for
I was working. I worked at a high-tech company, and that's where I got the project management skills, and they were the company that laid me off. And then when I went back to get my degree, I actually had a firm, an interior design firm, but I was partners. I had a partner at that point. During my 10-year hiatus, I raised my kids, my boys, and kind of did little things like projects for friends, but it was just more, it wasn't all in type thing. And my partner and I decided to part ways. There was not, we hit it off. She was actually amazing. She was what I like to say, the side of my brain that I don't have. She's more the business side, and I think I was more the creative side. And we really worked well together. And I think taking that time apart for me was part of it. I think it took me a while to jump in, was because I was a little nervous to kind of do it on my own, and just felt like it was all me.
Yes, for sure.
But in 2021, it was like, it's now or never. I mean, it's I've got to do it, and I always loved this, and so I'm doing it.
Fantastic. That's exciting. Like that feeling to start something new, and it's like your own business.
Yes.
It's like something that you love to do. That sounds great. And where the name is coming from?
So Aidan Lane Designs, the initials are my boys' initials. So Aidan's actually my oldest son's name, and my second child's name is Liam. My second likes to say that Aidan is my favorite because Aidan is in the name, and I'm like, no. And I actually took it from my neighbor. When I opened up my business, like, okay, well, I've got to come up with a name. What do I do? How do I come up with a name? And she was a designer as well. And she was like, well, maybe come up with a name where you use a street. That's kind of how we name our projects. I'm like, okay, well, what sounds good? And she was really good at creating things. And so she gave me the idea, why don't you try to use your boys' initials? I'm like, well, Aidan Liam, that doesn't really jive. And so she was like, what about Aidan Lane, like a street? And I took the initials, although my oldest son's name is in it. And that's kind of how it started.
Wow, that's great. I didn't know about the name.
Yes.
That's very interesting.
Yes.
Awesome. So, okay, as you know, I will ask you some questions because it's very interesting and very inspiring for the people to just learn more about where all of this inspiration is coming from. Oh, I'm missing. What is this property about? What is this project about?
So what is the project about? So when the client reached out to me, they love to travel. They travel a lot, and they wanted a place that they could come home to that felt like a very luxurious hotel. But they didn't want it to be cold. They wanted it to be warm, kind of like a retreat, a place to escape in. And you'll definitely see the backdrop is just amazing. It's in the hill country, and there's trees everywhere. So that it's kind of supposed to mimic a luxurious hotel.
Yeah, it looks so beautiful. For sure, you can see that in the video. And yeah, that is amazing that you can get the prompt from the client and just like try to create something that they are looking for, and they can call a place that they can rest and just come. It's very like relaxing, this atmosphere. like all the neutral tones and muted everything, and I love this.
This is my favorite.
I love
Yes.
it. So okay, so now as you know, I will ask you some questions, and this will be amazing for you to know more about your work and how you get your inspiration, and we will love your work more than we already do. So you already told us how your company emerged, but I would love to know what is your main source of inspiration.
I think I get my source of inspiration from 3 different things. Travel, one, the outdoors or nature, and also my kids. Travel, I think that it exposes you when you go learn about different cultures or you're in different countries. It exposes you to so many different things, like the way that they use certain materials. It kind of just makes you think outside the box of like what we're used to doing, and I think travel helps with that. All the different materials and how materials are used in that specific country. Foods, the colors. There's just so much richness in different parts of the world. And nature, I think, I don't know, there's just something about nature, when you feel stressed or you're overwhelmed with life, and you just go out for a walk, and there's just so much beauty in it. It's so simple, but yet it's so complicated. There's just all the little details. You can look at a leaf and you look at it, and I know it's not a big deal, but then if you really pay close attention to it, you see all the intricate details, the veining, the colors, and so I get inspired by that. And also my kids, because I feel like the older you get, we put so many restrictions on things that we do, and I feel like when you're young in that age, the sky's the limit. They make you think outside the box, and a lot of my inspiration comes from them. They like, well, why don't you do this, Mama? And it just, it's like I had not thought of that. And I feel like I'm young at heart, so I get a lot of what they give me or tell me. I guess just run with it. You can do it. Instead of me telling them, they're telling me. And just the curiosity, I think, when they're young. Honestly, the sky's the limit. There are no restrictions, and I feel like the older we get, we put those restrictions on ourselves, and just they don't. So
how old are your boys?
One of them he's 13, and the other one is 19. So he's in college, the oldest one. Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular, now that you told me that you inspire traveling, do you have a specific city or country that you really like, or that you have visited, that you have a favorite place or a happy place that you can share with me?
Well, a happy place, I love the water. So the water, that's my I get rejuvenated going somewhere where the water is. But I would say Mexico.
Woo!
Yes, I would say Mexico. I don't know. I think there's just so many beautiful things about Mexico. The colors, the people. We come in all different colors.
Yeah, amazing. Yes.
There's just the food. You can live in one part of Mexico and it's so different, and you go to the southern part of Mexico and it's so different there. Mexico City, I would say, is one of my favorite places. It reminds me of the New York version in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so much culture there. Art, music, the food. There's just so much richness everywhere. Oaxaca is another place that's beautiful, I think. San Miguel is another. Shout out to my friend Lily from Vivo Designs. She's from San Miguel.
I'm from Guanajuato, so
yes, Guanajuato is also yes, it's very beautiful. So yeah, I would say Mexico.
Awesome, that's great. So, the next question. What will be something you wish you had known before starting your own firm?
I would say what they don't teach you at school is the business side of it. And I think that goes for a lot of creatives, not just interior designers. They don't teach you the business side of design. And also I think as creatives, our minds don't think that way. I know that I hate sitting down and doing any of the accounting aspect of it, or any PR stuff, marketing. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. And you've got to have those, at least the very basics of it, in order to succeed in business. It's not just all the beautiful things. There's the backside of it, and I believe that that's probably. I wish I'd taken a couple of business classes, knowing that running a business that's a whole nother entity, the business side of it. So I would say that's probably been the hardest thing for me to learn, and I'm still learning, and I change things as I learn. But I would say the business side of the design world is probably the hardest thing.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to know, because there are a lot of aspects in the college that, and even if you take like an interior design degree, what do you think that is something that has been like very helpful because you went to get your degree in the school, and what is the one that you think that for sure I learned it during my experience?
I mean, honestly, I used to be that person that thought, oh yes, you need a degree in that. And I've learned in the last 3 years, I honestly don't feel like you do. Other than learning a software that will teach you, how to draw. But even then, I feel like there are people specific to that are probably much better than me at it, that could get it turned around a lot faster. But I honestly feel like, what design school taught me, I guess it's how to read drawings, right? How to set up a drawing, how to create the drawings, how to go out and measure the spaces. But it didn't teach you all the back end. It didn't teach you any of the business side of it. And I think that you can outsource a lot of pieces to your business, and still run a successful business. So,
what do you think that was like a thing that you were scared when you first started your own company?
Probably the not knowing, and not like, what if I fail? What if I get it wrong? What if I don't know how to do this? Business, it was all business related, right? How do I do that? I think that was probably the biggest thing that held me back from actually starting my own business sooner. But I feel like now that I'm in it, what I've learned from that is that I feel like we learn from our mistakes, and you're gonna make mistakes. That's just part of it.
Yeah.
And not necessarily mistake like per se that you caused something, but a mistake like, oh, maybe I should have done it this way. It would have worked out better this way. But you don't really know what you don't know until you get out there and do it.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, the next time I'm going to do it this way. It's going to make it better. It's going to make it easier. It's going to streamline it. It's going to, like, I do the same thing every time a client reaches out to me. Why don't you just create a template for it instead of redoing it every single time? It saves you time. It saves you, just repeating over and over the same thing. So I think that that's probably been one of the hardest things to learn. Again, is the business side of it.
Perfect. All right. The next question. If you could say something to yourself 15 years ago, what it would be?
That it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard, but there's nothing wrong with hard. You learn from the hard, I think, from the difficult, and that goes in just life in general, and also like in terms of my business. you know, design. It's a process. It's a work in process. You change it as you adapt, as you learn. You're changing it. It's always evolving, and there's nothing wrong with failure. It's actually, I think failure makes you grow. I don't know, it opens up new doors to better yourself. And I feel like if you don't fail, then you kind of stay in the same, you know, constant. So I would definitely say that it's gonna be hard no matter what. It's not easy, and no matter what you do in life in general and your business aspect, nothing's easy ever.
Yeah. I remember when I started designing kitchens, I was like very scared about, you know, if I am missing a filler or something like that I need.
Yes.
And I was like trying to memorize something that doesn't make sense for any reason. Just trying to memorize all the catalogs and what was available, and was like, but actually, like each client, each kitchen is completely different.
Yep.
So I was like, I just closed the catalogs and I said, I will figure it out.
Yep.
And I will figure it out is like the safe point of being a designer is just like, I will figure it out because I don't know what is coming.
As you go, correct.
Yes.
Correct.
So I cannot visualize the issues that can have like my next project. So we will figure out.
Yeah, and you don't know. I mean, sometimes things are going very, very smoothly, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, we weren't expecting this, and it's like, pause. We've got to come up with a solution, and it's figuring out and learning what's next, and it's okay if something happens. It's just part of the process.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so share with me a big mistake during your career as a designer, and how did you solve it, and what did you learn from it?
A big mistake.
Let's share the big mistake and a big victory, and what is that makes you feel proud about it.
A big mistake. I think being naive about it when I first started, just not knowing process, really. Like I'm gonna wing it. Yes, there are things that you can kind of, you know, you go and you're learning as you go, but there's also things that you've got to have a process down for it. It's like a recipe. You start with an inquiry. How do you go from, having an inquiry? What are the next steps? And these are things that you can set on things that you know that you're repeating. And so I was very naive and just wasted a lot of time in the very beginning not knowing that, not really researching it, reaching out to the community if I needed help with something, that there has to be steps in something. It's not, otherwise it's chaotic and you're reinventing the broken process every single time because it was broken.
Yeah.
But I would say that, and my victory, I would say shout out to my friend Lily again. When we first both started, she did a commercial for a long time, but when we first both decided to go into residential, we decided that we needed to get that part of our business figured out. And we took a trip to High Point, and we literally locked ourselves up in a conference room in a hotel for 3 days before the High Point event, and just sat down and just, wrote down all the tasks. What do we need to do? What do we need to accomplish? How do we do it? And we did it. So that, I feel like that kind of helped us, and it turned our businesses around. I'm still learning. It's still a process. It's still a work in progress. Mm-hmm. And you just you have to adapt it sometimes based on things that either happen at a job site or a client that you might have, or just even from other designers and talking with other designers that you meet, like, oh, how do you do this? And it's like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? Like, I would have never thought about that. That just seems so easy, and then you run with it. So I would say that.
Yeah. Do you have a specific job site or a project that you fail and you remember that your client said, or something like that? And you said, oh my God.
I don't know. Failed, I think maybe not really communicating well, like just winging it really, and not relaying to the client what the expectations were, and then the client not being happy about it because they didn't know what was next. And I think that kind of helps with having your processes down and explaining to the client, well, this is what our next steps are. So I would say communication, making sure that the client understands what's expected, from them as well as what they're getting from me when working on a project. And then also setting boundaries would be another one. I know that when I first started, it's just, you want to take on everything, you want to do everything, you want to please everyone, and you can't. You burn out. You just can't, and not everyone's for you.
It's not a good fit.
Yeah, it's not a good fit, yes. And I've learned that. And I used to think, gosh, that sounds so snotty, like, what do you mean you're not a good fit? But the more you learn and the more you're in it, it's like, yeah, that's not what I want.
Yeah, and to be honest, one of them is the budget. I feel that we need a lot, like, as part of the client and as part of the designers, we need that everybody gets more education about what is the cost of every single service and product that we are offering, because sometimes like the expectations are like very low. Like I was expecting that to invest only 5,000 and I want to redo my whole kitchen or my whole bedroom or my whole, and it's like, do you know what is the cost of the things? And that is like, there is no way. And actually I was playing like a couple of weeks ago with, we are like, as designers, I have seen like in social media that we are like tremendously scared about the artificial intelligence, and I was playing with ChatGPT and I love it.
I love it.
And I was like, I just asked ChatGPT, and actually I have a reel in my Instagram that I just put how much I need to invest in my kitchen if the cost of my property is blah blah blah, and the general dimensions of my kitchen is by 15 feet by 20 feet, and I have an island of these dimensions. And that's amazing, the way that it gives you.
Was it accurate?
That was amazing.
Wow.
Because that gives you a lot of options, like how much you need to invest in terms of the cabinets, of the appliances, of the flooring, like every single thing that you, and I put, please itemize every single thing that I need to consider, like in terms of the contractor. So that's amazing, and that is very educational, and also that was like giving you the option if you wanted to invest something like very economic or high end.
Okay.
So probably, just we need more about that, more about what is the real cost of the things right now, and the services, because we are not doing this. We love to do this work, but
it's not realistic.
But it's a business. So yes. So I think that is something that if the client doesn't fit, that doesn't mean that you are, like, oh, this is not a good fit.
Yes. It's just not realistic in terms of budget. It's just not realistic. And I mean, you don't know that when you're first learning until you start working and seeing the numbers. But it's not a good fit because it's just not realistic at that budget, so at that price. And it is about educating your client and making sure that they understand what things cost, because they honestly don't know. They don't know. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah, it's like a part of our work as a designers is like, let's learn about design first. So I will give you a master class and then we can work together. So every single time is like something like that. All right, so next question. Do you think that your designs tell something about you? And if that is yes or not, how?
Some of them. I think this room does. I think I'm playful, and I think that, and also calming, and like that. I try to bring, for example, in this space, I try to bring a lot of the outdoors in, because it allows itself to. So a lot of the textures and the colors come from the outdoors, and that's kind of me. That, I don't know, it refreshes me. But also all the playfulness, the things that are in here. Like, I love this. I keep saying this. I love this chair.
Soft.
It's like a dog. It's actually the dog.
Yeah, it is.
But I don't know. It's comfy. It's modern. The space is modern, but it's soft. It
feels luxurious.
Yes, it feels luxurious, but it's also very comfortable. Like, it's not something that you can't sit on, like you can't touch, it's inviting. It allows you to come in. And I feel like that's my personality. I'm a very outgoing person. At least I think I am. Yeah, I love people, and I think this space really does reflect that. Just the playfulness of it all, and some of the elements that were brought in, I feel like reflect my inner me.
That's amazing. Great. So, do you think that the mental health is important as a creative, and how that impacts your daily work?
Yes, it's very important. Very important. I will say that in the beginning of my business, I didn't have any boundaries between my clients, and I was working day and night every day, probably for over a year, and I would get emails, texts in the middle of the night, on the weekends, and I was burned out. I was ready to just throw in the towel, and I didn't want to do that because this is something that I love, but I knew that I needed to change something because it was taking a toll on me.
Yeah.
So I definitely, yes, I agree. I think that mental health is something that's very important. Taking care of yourself, taking care of your body, stopping to take a break. Even when you have, like, you've been sitting there on the computer for 4 or 5 hours, even a little walk, going outside and walking for 10 minutes just to clear your mind is so helpful.
Yeah.
But it is very important, definitely.
Do you practice something as part of your routine that helps you with your mental health?
I walk in the mornings, so I think that helps. I love being outside. I don't know, there's just something about nature that just refreshes your soul. So that helps me. I used to work out a lot, but I don't have the time anymore. So walking has been my therapy, I guess. Just getting out, making sure to just to get out and do something for myself, separate from everybody else. Coffee. I love coffee. And getting up in the morning when the house is so quiet and just having my alone time, reading. I think that helps me. It refreshes me. I don't know. But yes, definitely important.
Awesome. And the last one, what do you think that is a good advice for new talents, new designers that want to be part of this amazing community? What you can suggest, how you can motivate them that they can start their own business, their own thing, just doing what they love to do?
Don't be afraid. I feel like now that I'm in it, I feel like I lost so much time. Just do it. Really, honestly, just do it. Just jump in. If you're afraid, if you're not sure of something, reach out to somebody. Ask the question. The first person may not give you the answer, but somebody will. And yeah, just don't be afraid to try it. And I would also suggest, like, reading. If you're not sure about something, read. Like, just take in as much as you can. Learn from others. Having that little community is so helpful. I feel like when I was in this 10 years ago, it everything was so secretive. Nobody shared anything with you, and so I had that mentality going back into it that, oh well, I can't reach out to so and so because no one wants to share that information. But it's changed so much, and I think social media has been a big part of that. And there are people willing to share that information, and there are people willing to share because they're in the same situation that you are in. And it helps when you put yourself out there and you learn from one another. Someone may do something totally different from you, and it's just like, why didn't I think about that? But yeah, just putting yourself out there and doing it. Like, don't let fear stop you from doing what you want to do. And that would be my advice, honestly.
Awesome. Yeah, that is very helpful. Like, sometimes you just hear some words from somebody that has been in the industry and is doing amazing work, and just like, if I am planning to open my own business, and if you want to open your own firm and just start with your own thing, now is the moment to do that.
Exactly.
And just
don't be afraid.
You will figure out.
Yep. I agree.
Well, thank you so much, Deya, for being part of this. We have been planning this for a long time, and finally we met each other. But yeah, I'm very happy that you are part of this project.
Thank you, and I'm honored to be here, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we will be together in some events that
yes,
we'll go together,
I hope to see you. Yes, and we're definitely gonna go get some coffee.
Yay! All right. So, well, thank you. If you can share with us your social media, your website, how people can reach you out.
Yes, you can reach me at www.aidanlane, it's AIDANLANE, designs, DESIGNS.com, and my Instagram is at Aidan Lane Designs.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.
Thank you.